Hello and welcome to a new video here on my channel here at commaik. Here you can see the animal house, which I have kept nice and warm in winter for several years now with my self-built heating box. This heating box is mobile and I can take it anywhere. I have installed an 8 kilowatt diesel heater. It has its own power supply and a large 10-liter tank. I also have enough space to install a large battery. That way I can use the heater completely independently. But technology has advanced in the meantime. There are newer, better models and I want to introduce them to you in this video. What you see here is the TB Max from HCALORY. This diesel heater has a 7.5 liter tank capacity. The diesel heater has a nominal output of 8 kilowatts. It comes with a remote control featuring a carbon monoxide sensor and automatic temperature control. Of course, it also has the wired controller with a color display, including an extension cable. Is this small portable parking heater capable of replacing my large heating box? That's the question I'll be exploring in this video. If you want to find out, stay tuned, we're about to get started. My mobile heating box has ensured for many winters that the birds here in the animal house survive the winter well. The heater has a nominal output of 8 kilowatts. In practice, that's just under 5 kilowatts that actually reaches the space. It is automatically controlled by the temperature sensor inside the house. I extended the remote control with a cable. The remote control is installed inside. That's where the desired temperature is set. The heater runs continuously. Once the set room temperature is reached, the heater automatically turns down to the lowest setting. Then it runs quietly in a low cycle, but it still consumes diesel during this time. I want to counteract that. I want to save even more fuel. I want to make a tank last for more than a week. For this reason, I took a closer look at the HCALORY TB MAX. This diesel heater has a 7.5 liter tank and can run continuously for up to 62.5 hours on the lowest setting. It is extremely economical. In addition to this economical power level, it also has the option to shut off completely. Yes, you heard that right. This heater uses the sensors in the remote control to detect whether the desired temperature has been reached and then automatically switches to standby mode. If the temperature drops too much, it turns itself back on automatically. So there is no slow continuous operation. Instead, the heater shuts off completely, saving a huge amount of fuel. My goal now is to continue using the connections from the heater box and connect the HCALORY TB Max to the existing ventilation ducts. I will test whether this actually works as well as expected. Unlike my previous heater, which I controlled with the LCD display, I can do without the remote control on the TB Max. Instead, I can use a proper wireless remote control. It's not the small remote with the 4 buttons, it's this model here. This remote control has a built-in temperature sensor and also a CO sensor. If you install this heater in your camper, use it while camping, or are on the road somewhere, you have a small safety feature here. This protects you from dying of carbon monoxide poisoning. The heater is also controlled via the temperature sensor, even if it's located somewhere else outside the building. The great thing about this remote control can be seen on the underside. There are no batteries. You can simply recharge it with a USB cable. In theory, you could even screw this device to the wall inside your house, plug in a USB cable, and use it continuously. That definitely sounds very convincing to me already. Now I'll take you into my workshop and show you what accessories are available for the heater. After that, I'll connect the device to the heating box and give it a test run. Of course, I'll also show you what you can control in the app. The heater was delivered to me in this box, and it comes with quite a bit of accessories. But first, let's take a closer look at the heater itself. In my opinion, the dimensions are relatively compact and manageable, and as for the weight, at an estimated 6 or 7 kilos, that's fine for me. You can carry the whole thing with one hand. Nothing rattles either. It's really nicely and sturdily built. You can see here, this frame around the outside is metal and the handles are made of plastic. At the front, like with any heater, is the air outlet for the warm air. On the back is the intake for the air to be heated. Here is the connection for the power supply. There's a special feature on the underside of this heater. The exhaust is already pre-installed here. You can see that here. You don't have to do anything at all. Just take it out of the box and get started. I really like that already. Then there's this little green hose here. That's the hose for the diesel fuel. You can even remove it and attach a different hose. That way you can tap into the car's tank or use a larger diesel canister. Then the heater will run even longer. But as I said, a 7.5 liter tank is already built in. What I also really like is the fresh air supply for combustion. This pipe here on the side is open on most heaters. The small black hose is attached there through which the combustion air is then drawn in. You see it? It's integrated into the housing. There is no open intake pipe here and no danger zone. That's really nicely done. In my opinion, there's a reason for that too. This heater is described as all-weather capable. It's weatherproof. According to the manufacturer, rain, snow, and water are no problem. The housing itself is completely splash-proof. The only weak point I've found is the power supply connection. On the back, the plug from the power adapter, which by the way is included, is simply plugged in. Of course, this connection is not waterproof. You'll need to figure out a way to make the connection waterproof. If you install the heater outside the vehicle or outside the house, the connection must be sealed. Of course, as an alternative to the 220 volt or 110 volt power adapter with a HCALORY plug, you can also connect a battery. This cable is of course also included. Here is the plug for the heater and the two terminals for your battery. You should expect an inrush current of about 10 amps for the glow plug to preheat. Once the heater is running, however, the power consumption is relatively low. You really don't need that much. What else is included? Another cable, namely for the remote control. The remote control is built in up here. I really like that. It's splash proof there, which is very useful if you are using it in places where water might be present, such as a bathroom or kitchen. I can pull out this remote control whenever I need to, and it feels comfortable and easy to hold. It's connected to the heater with this plug, making sure the connection is secure and reliable. This remote control has some additional functions. If I want to install it somewhere else, maybe in the house, I can easily do that with this approximately 1 meter long extension. If you need it, great. If you don't, that's fine too. In addition to this remote control, you can of course also control this heater via the app. I'll show you in a moment how that works. The absolute highlight of this heater is of course the remote control. I already showed it to you earlier. Turn on the remote control. You have all the indicators on the display. I hope you can see that. The remote control has the temperature sensor, the CO sensor, and the USB power connection. You can control the heater completely with this remote control. That way, the heater can stay outside. The warm air is transported into the house through this hose. You don't have to go outside to adjust anything. It works conveniently from inside. I think that's really great. I really like that. Now I have the warm air hose in my hand. Of course, I want to show it to you as well. The pipe can be extended and bent. It's not very long. It probably wouldn't reach all the way into the house. That would be too short. But there are suitable adapters. Or you can just buy a longer ventilation hose right away. But you definitely have to pay attention to the size. The connectors on these diesel heaters come in different sizes. By now I've already installed and connected 3 or 4 heaters. The other hoses always had a diameter of 75 millimeters. 75 millimeters, so 7.5 centimeters. This one here is 90 millimeters. 90 millimeters fits perfectly on this heater. All my previous hoses are 75 millimeters and I can't connect them to the heater. I need an adapter for that. This part, for example, I ordered it separately for 6 to 7 euros. Shipping took a long time. It came directly from China and was in transit for a week. The adapter is attached to the front and then I can connect a 75 millimeter hose here. Unfortunately, I can't make a coupling out of it. The diameters are the same size. There's also a diffuser for the warm air hose. This one here, you can install it permanently. It has pre-drilled screw holes. You simply attach it to the back of the pipe. With it, you can direct the air wherever you want it to go. The warm air comes out the front here. The cold air that needs to be heated is drawn in from the back. Of course, the exhaust gases also need to be disposed of safely. That's where the exhaust hose comes into play. This 60 centimeters long hose is included in the package. You simply attach it to the exhaust pipe, which is located here on the side, and secure it with a pipe clamp. The clamp goes around the outside here. To make sure everything is really sealed, I recommend using exhaust assembly paste. Something like this, for example. The paste is spread around the exhaust and then the pipe is placed over it. Be careful, nothing should get inside the pipe. That would block the exhaust flow. When the pipe heats up from the exhaust gases, which can be over 100 degrees Celsius, the paste burns in. It becomes rock hard. That's how you really seal the exhaust. I just mentioned over 100 degrees Celsius. That's quite something. The pipe must be insulated if it's installed near flammable objects. I recommend these protective sleeves to you. There are all kinds of different versions available. You simply pull them over and they make sure that the exhaust pipe is thermally decoupled so nothing can happen. Additionally, of course, there's also the muffler. That is also connected to the pipe. It should definitely be installed outside. The small hole must be installed facing downwards. That's where the condensate needs to drain out. The heater burns diesel. Moisture is also produced during combustion. This moisture is expelled along with the exhaust gases. If the exhaust parts are too long, have too many bends, or are clogged, the moisture accumulates inside. Everything then becomes sooty and clogged up in there. That's why the exhaust pipe must always be installed with a downward slope. Before I connect the TB Max to my heating box and check whether the fuel consumption is really that low and whether it delivers the necessary performance, I'd like to briefly talk about the topic of safety. In one of my recent videos, I showed you how I installed the HCALORY HBH2 diesel heater in the conservatory, that is, inside a building. I received a lot of comments under that video addressing and even questioning the topic of safety. I really want to thank you all so much for your comments. There were some important points in there for me and probably for some of you as well. That's why I want to clarify in this video, using this diesel heater does involve risks, especially if you use it indoors in poorly ventilated spaces. The fuel that is burned here produces toxic exhaust gases. Carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides, there are all sorts of things produced. If the exhaust system isn't 100% sealed, it can lead to poisoning, which can even be fatal. You absolutely have to keep that in mind. That's why a diesel heater should ideally be installed outside with only the warm air hose leading inside. If, for whatever reason, that's not possible, as was the case for me, then you absolutely need to make sure that the exhaust paths are clear, that they are short, and that there is a downward slope. The exhaust must be sealed tight. To be on the safe side, you should use a CO detector, either the one from the remote control or a large carbon monoxide sensor. For example, this one here that I use myself, it measures the CO level and is also a smoke detector. It ensures that I get an early warning if smoke or gases escape, because you can't smell or taste CO. You only notice it when you've already fallen asleep. But by then, it's too late. I hope you take that into account. I'm looking forward to your suggestions and comments. I really appreciate it if you write me something about the video. If you now want to know how much such a heater costs, how much the accessories cost, and where you can get all of it, the CO detector, the hose extension, and all the accessories you see here, then take a look down in the video description. There you'll find links to the products I use here, which I'm satisfied with and can recommend to you. You'll also find the promo code for the HCALORY diesel heater there. The heater was provided to me for this test, and I was also able to negotiate a discount code for you. You can find the code in the video description. If you use it when shopping, you'll get an additional discount. Just check to see what the current price of the heater is for you. Now, I've done enough advertising. I'm going to mount the feet now. I haven't shown you those yet. The brackets are installed on the underside of the heater. You can then attach the heater directly to a bracket on the wall or on your vehicle. There are also rubber feet included. These are screwed onto the bottom of the heater. This way you can set up the heater so it doesn't slip. I'm going to mount the bracket now, and after that I'll connect the heater outside at the animal house. Then I'll start my test. I've installed the HCALORY TB MAX. The exhaust is connected and the air supply into the house is also hooked up. There are two things I'd like to try out. Among other things, the manufacturer advertises a fast heating function. The maximum temperature is supposed to be reached within 3 minutes. That's incredibly fast, of course. I want to test that and also measure what temperatures the heater reaches. The second test should be interesting for many of you, especially for those who often go camping. The heater is supposed to be extremely quiet. The clicking of the diesel pump is supposedly not audible at all, and the ventilation noise is said to have been greatly reduced as well. Well, let's test that. I've already connected the remote control. I hope you can see it clearly. I press and hold on/off. The target temperature is set to 20 degrees Celsius. The heater is now starting up. In addition to the wired remote control, I also have the wireless remote here. There too, the target temperature is set to 20 degrees Celsius. I've already paired the app with the heater as well. It's incredibly easy. All you have to do is activate Bluetooth on your phone, download the HCALORY app, and tap the plus symbol in the top right corner. Now, search for devices nearby and then select the heater, and just like that, you've installed it in the app. You'll find the appropriate links for Android and Apple iOS below the video in the description. I'll put them there for you. What you're hearing now is the clicking of the diesel pump. It doesn't sound as loud and metallic anymore. It sounds more muffled, but in my opinion, you can still hear it. What do you think about it? Leave me a comment under the video. Now you can hear the ignition flame and the heater is ramping up. The thermal image of the heater is basically monochrome, but you can clearly see the exhaust temperature at the tailpipe. It's now at 73 to 75 degrees Celsius. The pipe for the air is currently at 23 degrees Celsius. You can feel it. it's nice and warm. Let's take another quick look into the combustion chamber. It's over 160 degrees Celsius in there. The heater has now been running for about 10 minutes and the temperature has risen quickly. There's really nice warm air coming out, and the noise level, it's not silent. No, it's not. The clicking of the pump, I'll bring the microphone really close. I can't hear it anymore. I really can't hear it anymore, but the ventilation noise is up here in front and also at the exhaust. Those you can hear. You can still tinker a bit with the exhaust. There are better models that are significantly quieter. But with the ventilation hose, there's not really much you can do. Maybe you can insulate it a bit more. Now I'll show you what you can do in the app to control this heater. HCALORY offers its own app for their in-house diesel heaters. With it you can link several heaters at the same time. That's no problem at all via Bluetooth. There isn't much you can do in the settings. You can set the password and switch between degrees Celsius and degrees Fahrenheit, or between feet and meters for altitude information. You have the option to change the language. The manuals and user help are also integrated into the app. There are different ways to use the heater. As you can see here, I have set 20 degrees as the target temperature. At the bottom, the automatic start-stop is marked in red. This means that the temperature will be maintained at 20 degrees. If it drops below that, the heater will automatically turn on and heat up again. If the room temperature is above that, the heater switches to standby mode. Below the target temperature, you'll find some additional data from the voltage to the current room temperature. Of course, I can also disable the automatic control and operate the heater manually. Here, I can either use just the fan mode, or I can switch to heating and use the plus and minus buttons to set the heating temperature. The HCALORY TB MAX has shut itself down automatically. The target temperature has been reached. The heater gradually ramps down and has now completely shut off, but remains in standby mode. If the temperatures drop again, it would automatically turn back on and heat up to the target temperature. That definitely convinced me. It works and definitely saves fuel. I find the workmanship to be solid, the body's nice, and I like the design. The screws and edges aren't completely perfect, but it's functional and in my opinion has quite good quality. What I don't really like is the weather resistance of the power supply. You can see it here with my makeshift setup. There is definitely a risk that water could get in. I would install a rubber seal there, or I would unscrew the heater and permanently mount the cable inside the heater to make it waterproof. The app's features are still great. It's not overloaded and has everything I need at a glance. The 7.5-liter tank, which is supposed to allow up to 62.5 hours of runtime, is also a big improvement for me. However, I still always need an additional power supply. I still need an extra battery or a power outlet. So I can't completely do without my big box. But I could make it smaller. What do you think about that? Leave me a comment below the video. What do you think of the HCALORY TB MAX diesel heater? What do you think of these diesel heaters in general? What ideas do you have? Where would you use this heater? Where would you definitely not use it? Feel free to leave me a comment. Give me a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the upcoming videos. You'll find the product links and the discount code below the video in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'm already looking forward to the next video with you. Take care, bye.